Welcome to a place where hearts unwind, infinite threads that gently bind, love and compassion in every line. Together we rise through space and time.
Welcome back to Infinite Threads. I'm your host, Bob. We've been walking through something together these past few days. The noise, the space between reactions, and then that moment where you decide whether or not to add to the fire. Today, we step into what that choice really is. Because from the outside, it doesn't always look like strength. When you choose not to react the way people expect, when you don't match intensity with intensity, when you don't escalate something that feels like it deserves it, people can misunderstand that. They might think that you're backing down, that you're avoiding, that you're being passive. But what they don't see is what it takes to hold that line. Because staying gentle in a moment that's charged isn't easy. It goes against everything that's rising up inside you. That pull to defend, to prove, to correct, to win. And none of those things are inherently wrong. They're human after all, but when they take over, they start to shape how you show up. And not always in a way that reflects who you truly are. So to stay gentle isn't about ignoring those feelings. It's about feeling them fully and still choosing something else. That takes awareness. It takes restraint. It takes a kind of strength that doesn't rely on overpowering anything, just staying present inside it, holding your ground without raising your voice, standing in truth without needing to force it onto someone else, responding without hardening. That's not weakness. That's control, real control. Because anyone can react. Anyone can raise their voice. Anyone can push harder when they feel pushed. That doesn't take much awareness. It doesn't take much intention. But to stay grounded, to stay clear, to stay connected to yourself in the middle of something difficult, that takes something deeper. And here's where it becomes even more important. When you stay gentle. When you stay gentle, you don't just change your own experience. You change the energy of the moment. You create a different possibility. Because most conflict, most tension, relies on both sides feeding it. It needs reaction. It needs escalation. It needs momentum. But when one person steps out of that pattern, when one person refuses to meet intensity with more intensity, something shifts. Not always immediately and not always visibly, but the pattern breaks. Trust me. And once a pattern breaks, something new can take its place. And that doesn't mean the other person always changes. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they stay exactly where they are. But you don't get pulled into it. You don't lose yourself in the moment. You don't walk away wondering why you said something that you didn't mean, or why you let something escalate beyond what it needed to be. You remain aligned. And that matters, guys, because at the end of the day, the way you show up, that's something you carry with you. That's something you build on. That's something that shapes who you become over time. So choosing gentleness, even when it's hard, even when it's misunderstood, even when everything in you wants to react differently, that choice is not small. It's not passive either. It's powerful. Quietly, steadily powerful. And the more you choose it, the more it becomes part of you. Not something you have to think about, but something you naturally are. A presence that doesn't get pulled off center easily. A steadiness that people can feel. A strength that doesn't need to prove itself, and in a world that often confuses loudness with power, that kind of strength stands out. Not because it demands attention, but because it changes the atmosphere around it. So today, if you find yourself in a moment that feels charged, where the instinct is to push back, to match, to escalate, well, just pause. Feel what's there. Don't deny it, but don't let it take over either. And ask yourself this: what would it look like to stay gentle here? Not passive, but grounded, clear, present. Because that guys, that is strength. And you know it is. Next, we open this up into something bigger. A way of moving through the world that doesn't depend on everything around you changing first. And that's where things really begin to shift. I'll see you tomorrow. You all have a great one. I love each and every one of you very